What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the We Are One podcast. Today, I am joined by Brother Trey. What's good, brother?
How are you, sir?
I am excellent, dog.
Good, man. It's been a while.
I just lied. I'm good, but I wouldn't say I'm excellent per se.
You. No, I hear you. I hear you.
Like that's just like a standard response. Like,
right.
I want to spread joy and positivity. So if like you ask me, I'm fucking great, bro.
Right.
What?
Yeah, no, let's get it.
Let's go.
Jacked.
Yeah,
No,
but
actually, yeah.
I'm just like decent.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good.
I'm alright. It's Thursday.
I'm excited for. I feel like there's like just opportunity like pounding at my doorstep.
I hear you.
So it's like, it's inspiring and exciting. I just got over like my little hump that I usually go through like every December.
Right.
You know, new year, new me type shit. So trying to bring in the new year with some. This is actually like the first time I genuinely like I have specific goals in mind for a year. I always thought of it as like corny.
Right. No. I hear you. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was thinking like.
Well, that's kind of big. What did you say?
Well, I'll tell you. I was excited because I had this realization that like for a long time I looked at like I thought it was corny, and I looked at like the calendar just as like some bullshit because it's like a Christian calendar that we use. But then I realized like, well, no, the start of a new year and the length of the year and all that is really based on our rotation around the sun. So then having that realization was like, oh, it's not so corny to put weight on it being a new year because it's like it's larger than just like the Gregorian calendar.
No, that's a good way to look at it.
So having that realization, I was like, hell yeah, 2021, let's get it popping. 2020 was cool, but the end of the year I kind of felt bad thinking back, like I did a lot of shit this year, but I didn't do everything that I had in mind to do this year, right? I didn't hit it like 110%, which is impossible. I didn't hit it at 100% like I would have liked to, right? So I actually got like specific goals in mind. One in particular is like hitting this podcast super hard, sticking to the schedule consistently for the entire year, trying to get, on average 2 podcasts a week. So that means some weeks it might be 4 and then skip a week and get 1 in and then 2, whatever. I just want to hit average 2 podcasts a week.
It's about that average.
And then I need to produce more like micro content around the conversations that we're having on the podcast. And that's kind of what we were talking about like before, that you are wanting to do yourself too.
No, exactly.
With your platform and your brand. So those are like some of the specific goals I have in mind. Also, I'm going to start a website this year. It's going to be some like storefront of some kind, but I got a bunch of ideas in mind, but I know for a fact I need to get into the e-commerce game. Okay. That's one of my goals this year. And there's a couple more, but we don't have to get into it.
No, those are pretty good.
I'm actually going to be joining a podcast specifically about structuring goals, so I'm excited to do that. Just with some homie I met on Twitter. But what the fuck? What's up,
dude?
Enough about me.
Yeah, no, it's not up, man. Like, I don't know. Where do you want me to start?
Right. That's a good question. Where do we start?
My New Year's resolutions. I got no.
Yeah, I mean, do you partake? Is that something that you think about?
I wouldn't say it's like a set thing, like I'm gonna do this, but I usually give myself something to, I don't know, look forward to or to work towards, I should say, every year and try to better myself. So like last year was getting bigger into tournament fishing. Kind of accomplished that with getting into a tiny boats tournament league, but and then this year it's, winning a tournament, right? And getting on that level and getting bigger and more experience in that side of fishing and that side of the industry. So that's kind of just a goal that I set. It's not really if it doesn't happen, not the end of the world. It's not like, oh well, but
I think it's absolutely important to have something simply just to look forward to. Exactly. Right? To put your mind down.
Right.
That's like,
and to like strive to get towards or to put those goals for yourself. I mean, those personal milestones are huge for me personally. So
well, I feel like if you don't have like a vision of where you want to get to, like then where are you going?
No, right. What are you doing?
Like, what are you doing?
Just wandering at that point,
literally,
so.
Like you're a lost soul at that point. Like
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right.
You know, I think everyone plays a role. This shit keeps dropping on me. I find myself like slumping down to it
slowly.
We need some new stands. We'll be good. But what was I saying? Oh, everyone like plays a role
Yeah.
just in life in general, and I feel like everyone
Right. No.
has a purpose to fulfill, right? And it's like we're tasked with becoming in tune with what our purpose is,
Right.
what it is, or what it's intended to be,
Right,
or
yeah.
just like following our intuition to fulfill that purpose, whatever. And I feel like if you're not doing that, like, cool, like I'm all for individuals making decisions for themselves,
Right.
but like you're probably not someone I'm spending my time with.
Yeah.
You know.
No. I'm yeah. Same boat. Same boat.
So
Same boat.
it's January 7th today, and it's hard. We were talking about this before, like. We have things to talk about, but it's like it's hard to have any form of discussion
Right.
after what we just witnessed yesterday.
Yeah, the ridiculousness of yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to. There's not a word to describe it perfectly. What
Right.
really happened? Like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I try to be very conscious of the words that I use to describe anything, because I don't, and in any way, intend on adding to the divisiveness that's in
Correct.
society. So like,
Correct.
I don't, my emotional reaction is like one thing, but then my logical response in trying to like really understand what we witnessed is somewhat different. Right. So we'll just stick with the logical.
Yeah.
But like it felt for one, definitely a profound thing to witness.
Oh. Again.
Who'd have imagined?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Were you working yesterday?
I was.
Was it something that you were like watching while you were working? Like, was it are you in an office?
Yeah, I have my own office, but it was something that my phone was going off so much about that I couldn't ignore it. So it was usually I can keep it. It felt like I was getting a phone call with so many news apps and Google and this that going on. Like, I was like, what? Okay, I gotta take 5 minutes and see, and then I gotta take 20 minutes and see. And
Yeah.
then it turned into an hour, and then I'm watching clips, and I'm like, what's going on right now?
Yeah, it ended up fulfilling almost the entirety of my day yesterday.
Yep. After that, yeah, it was done.
So what was like your initial thoughts around what you were seeing? Like when you first get the report that the U.S. Capitol had been breached by this mob of Trump supporters,
Right.
rioters, protesters,
Right.
however you want to refer to them. Like, what was your initial?
Initial it was that was very violent. Like it was in my mind there was no way that ordinary people could just overtake the security of a Capitol. Like it was just hard to fathom that, right? So in my mind that had to be by force. Like that had to be
A hostile
right,
takeover.
like a very, very tense situation. But then as I dug into it, it was like, that's not how it shook out.
I think that's one of the most important things to point out is the fact as to how easy it was for these people. Not to say it was easy, I guess, per se, but it was simple.
It was.
They
it wasn't
simply
difficult.
made their way into the Capitol.
Yep.
And I think that's, like I said, important to point out, and that's a part of the conversation right now is like, where the fuck was the security?
No, right. And what does that say globally? Like,
right. What type of signal does that send out to?
What do you guys want playing here?
Right.
We'll get like.
Well, like I went to DC for a National Action Network commitment march and rally. It was like Al Sharpton's National Action Network it's his organization that set up this giant event. There was easily like 100,000 people there. It was towards the end of the summer. I want to say it was August when kind of right after the height of all the protests and riots we witnessed across the country. A lot of it was still going on. The tensions were still pretty high, but it was more to the tail end of the peak of it. And when we were there, it was every exit to get in or out of DC or down near excuse me or down near the Capitol or anything. So for one, the Capitol had a cement wall around it. For two, every exit you took had an armored vehicle.
Right.
The police presence was like, I've never seen that many officers of any kind in a vicinity so densely ever in my life. Not even when the riots were happening here and the city was burning, or parts of the city. Right. And it was military, police, Capitol Police, state police, everywhere.
Right.
Barricades, blocks away from the Capitol, like road closures, everything. Their preparedness was, if anything, outstanding. Right.
Ready.
What you would have expected to see when there's this Storm the Capitol event planned at least a month ahead of time. At least. January 6th was a date that stood out to everybody because it was being talked about in specific circles as to this grand thing. Was like, this whole event that we witnessed yesterday was foreshadowed.
Yep.
It was planned. It was
obviously
as on its face as like unorganized as it might have looked.
Right.
That was organized. There was mercenaries in that bunch, right? Yep. And like, I just don't understand that lack of security and that lack of preparedness. That's to me what stands out as evidence or anecdotal evidence of it being intentional.
No, right.
Or purported. What the fuck is the word?
It's a good question, actually.
Enabled.
Yes.
Right? It was enabled by specific people in DC at the time. Be it Donald Trump or the loyalists that he's appointed to the Defense Department or whoever. It was enabled to happen. And just fucking nuts. That's the biggest thing that stands out to me. The fact that the police presence compared to when I personally visited DC with that amount of people for similar intentions. Not that we intended to storm the Capitol, but we were there out of protest.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And fuck.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing that needs mentioning is the differences in the protests that happened over the summer and that. Like, and when you literally go back and watch how law enforcement treated the protests that were peaceful, right? And these weren't necessarily the most peaceful yesterday, right? I mean,
like, prime example, when Trump wanted to go out and take that picture in front of the church.
And they exactly where I was going with it.
They tear-gassed a congregation that was outside of their church.
Exactly. That was peaceful all day. Nothing ever popped off. And then this. And it's insane. Like this. It's not. And then I try to stay off of social media, Facebook, and reading. But I mean, it's hard because it just fires you up and you want to go back. And I mean, it's like,
especially when we're collectively witnessing something like this.
I'm saying
how it's like, if that's our public square, it's nearly impossible not to want to be a part of that conversation. Right. And I had one more thought. I kind of lost it.
I don't know how to help you.
It's good to come back. Hold on. Let me just meditate for a second. What was I thinking?
But I mean, think about going to even a football game. How much law enforcement presence there is.
Right. Like an NFL game? Right.
Yeah. Like, you can't.
There's more. I mean, I can't say this for certain. This is me just fucking around kind of. But, like, there's more security around a football field making sure someone doesn't streak across the field than there was around the perimeter of the
commercial
Capitol.
break, you see them guys in yellow step outside. How many more is there?
Right.
Like, at least put those 80-year-olds defending something.
The hypocrisy was just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I can't tell if, like, the hypocrisy was, like, intentionally ironic. The fact that a lot of the perpetrators and a lot of the people supporting that mob were like, oh, it was Antifa that infiltrated this group, or, you know, just, I couldn't tell if that was, like, intentionally just ironic or if they genuinely thought that.
I know.
And the thing is, the amount of misinformation that is, like, fueling that mob in particular,
it's sad, bro,
is crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah. No, that's the true statement. It is crazy.
This is like a meme war gone IRL.
Gone real.
Yeah.
Like, it's like real. Like,
all of a sudden,
this matters?
meme war in real life?
Yeah. Like, I thought this was a joke. No.
Yeah. Like, all of a sudden, we're going to have, like, Pepe the Frog, like, jumping out. And that's going to be like Groundhog's Day. He's going to be, like, expected to choose sides, you know? Like, oh, he didn't see his shadow. He's actually a lefty.
Wouldn't be surprised anymore, though. Like,
No.
wouldn't even be surprised.
I wouldn't either. What about aliens, bro? We gonna see aliens in
Oh, yeah.
2021?
100%.
I think so. I think so
100%.
too.
It's about time. I mean, please, like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I love them. I love it.
Supposedly, there's still a collective of elitists that don't think that the elitists in the sense, not in the sense of like generational wealth, but elitists in like the sense of like information. Like they have access to information that isn't necessarily common knowledge. So I don't know if elitist would be the right term, but these people are they are still stuck on the fact that apparently the public perception of like if there was like people aren't ready for it is their perception. So like they don't think that disclosure should happen yet.
I mean, I feel like after seeing your Capitol breached, we're ready for aliens. I mean,
Right.
Everyone already knows they're here. Like, everyone already knows about it.
Yeah. Are you an alien, bro?
Oh, I mean, we don't need to get into that here.
No.
Maybe
Off
off air.
air. Okay, my
We'll
bad. I
talk
didn't mean to
about
put you
deeper.
on the
Yeah,
spot, dog.
So, man, the Vikings are crazy, right?
Yeah, fuck the Vikings. So, who's Trey, bro? Who are you? What are you up
Who's
to?
Trey, man?
Let's start with how did you and I meet?
Light skin gang. That's how we met.
LSR, Light Skin Revolution, baby.
That's how we met. No, that was...
I've got a source for that. It is a light skin revolution. Science says that everyone in the world eventually is going to be
This is true.
light skin.
This is true.
Maybe not everyone, but a large portion
Hey.
of the world eventually is going to
Will be the majority.
resemble our complexion.
Yeah.
So
I'd be down with that. We're pretty.
we're
you
pretty
know?
dope too.
I'm saying, best of both worlds, you know? That's literally what all it is.
Right.
But nah, man, what is that? How many years ago was that we met back in Owatonna?
Like 6 years
I was
ago.
gonna say that was
Literally like 6 years ago now.
6. Yeah.
So in Owatonna, Minnesota.
Small town living.
I came out there. I was supposed to be graduated from high school already, but I was not. So I came out
that's right.
as like a super senior after getting out of treatment. They moved me out to a halfway house down in Owatonna.
Yeah.
And I had the privilege of going back to high school.
The privilege.
It really was. You know, I actually got lucky. Like going back to school in Owatonna was like the best decision
Really?
I made. That was a catalyst to like me actually getting to like where I am now.
Wow.
Like, because
Wow.
one, like my halfway house, cool and all, but I eventually got kicked out. They kicked me out of my halfway house on Christmas Eve, so I ended up homeless. Luckily, I had a job over at Applebee's, and I was going to school. So that's why they kicked me out, is because I was never at the facility.
Oh.
They were like, we can't get state funding for you being here anymore because
that's
you're not
bogus.
coming to programming. I'm like, motherfucker, I have 2 weeks left in
Right.
the program. Just let me graduate.
Right.
But whatever,
that's
they kicked me out
bogus.
on Christmas Eve. I worked at Applebee's. I was going to high school, and the fact that I was going to high school when I got kicked out was like what kept me going. I had already established relationships with like you, like Julius,
Right, right.
Eamon, Alex. Like I actually had friends.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
If I hadn't had a group to kind of become acquainted with and find peers that actually want to hang out with me and I can spend time with who aren't doing heroin or
Right.
running the streets, like if I didn't have that, I would have ended up back in the environment that I was using in, because after getting kicked out of my halfway house, I had no reason to stay in Owatonna except for those people and kind of like what I had started, right? Which was just like trying to graduate high school and get my life on track. But
Right.
I think if I hadn't taken up that commitment of going back to school, I would have been back in the city or in Chaska or Eden Prairie or wherever it was, crashing on someone's couch,
Right.
like
Damn. Man.
hitting licks to fucking get dope. Like
Right.
that, I can
I
almost
hear you.
guarantee that's where I'd be. I'd probably be dead at this
Yeah.
point in time. Like,
Damn.
yeah. So
Well, I'm glad that you went back to school in Owatonna.
Yeah,
bro.
no,
That's
so
lit. we
I-
got it popping.
thank you,
too.
dog.
That was fun too.
That-
Man. We
that's-
had a blast. That year was fun. That prom where we
like that party, right?
Yeah, dude. We got all dressed up. Me, and Julius took that picture. I still have it. It's on my Facebook.
I'd have to see
somewhere,
it.
I think.
Yeah.
It's light skin gang. We threw up the L's.
Did
and
we?
everything.
Oh my goodness, that's lit. I gotta see that. We might have to make that the thumbnail.
I'm saying.
That's lit.
Yeah, no, we look good too. We look
So
good.
that was your senior year,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
and you started growing your hair out then too, didn't you? How long you been growing those dreads out?
Let's see. I think I got my last haircut. Yeah, that summer before I went up to college. I think I got
Okay.
my last haircut then, and then got dreads that February.
Tight.
I was just like, I needed some. My hair was growing so fast, and I didn't want to cut it again, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I've always low key back in my mind, I've always like dreads are sick.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and now you can never cut your dreads.
no, I know.
I'm
gonna try to like get that all grayed out look. You know, as
Okay.
an old man.
Ooh,
looking
that
like,
would be fire.
I'm saying,
That'd be super
hopefully I
fire.
get like a limp so I can have a cane. Like, that'd be
So
sick.
the reason you can't ever cut your dreads,
Yes.
you have, is it a company? Is it a platform?
I don't
a
really know.
brand?
Yes.
A brand?
I don't. That's
like
a great question,
It's
man.
like a,
I don't know what
it's like
to
a
call
brand and a platform.
Yeah.
Like
It's a platform.
a platform.
I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I really don't. It's like I just wanted to.
I just had to throw all that. Listen.
You have to. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah. So the dreaded outdoors, right? That's the name.
Oh
And
yeah, we didn't
of
even
course,
say it yet. Sorry.
dreaded outdoors, dreadlocks. Part of it.
Show them the shirt, the sweatshirt.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all. There's the camera. Boom. Dreaded outdoors. It says. So on the back, we got that hashtag blend.
Can't even see it, but it's
Where we at?
the chair's blocking you.
Oh. Okay. You can just edit that, eh?
No,
All right.
it's okay.
Perfect. Love it.
We're
but
real.
I'll explain that in a second. But no, dreaded outdoors. So kind of a play on words, right? Dreadlocks outdoors. Everyone gets that. But growing up, like I always heard, read books and stuff like, oh, you don't want to go out to the dreaded outdoors. Like, we're a bad thing. I don't know. Stuck with me. And I'm like, that's a cool little name. And now I have dreadlocks. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've always been into outdoors, as you know, like hunting, fishing. It's been my life. So, but I've never seen person of color, right? Like growing up, turn on ESPN 5 a.m. on a Saturday. It's a white dude fishing. It's a white guy hunting. It's an old white girl that shoots her first buck, and it's a giant, right? Like, and I'll never have that opportunity. And that was just one of the things that, even as a little kid, I'm like, why isn't there any people like my dad fishing? You know, why isn't there any black people? I didn't ever call it that when I was growing up, you know, but now looking back, it's like, yeah, that was why I was asking those questions. And
Is that a part of your like passion for it? Is kind of breaking down that?
yeah,
Not necessarily a stereotype, but like that.
that kind of like stigma around it, that feel that, oh, you see a black, hey, no, you see a black dude on the side of a river. Oh, you're catfishing. That's all black people do, right? And that's when I started getting into this like industry. That's all people
Pull
would
it a
say.
little
Like
closer.
they would say, oh, you know how to catfish? Like, no, well, I've never caught a catfish. I'll be honest. I've never caught a cat. Closest thing I caught bullhead. So I mean,
Yeah.
like.
That's not your forte.
No, like I'm a bass fisherman.
That's just
musky fisherman.
That's
like,
literally
I fish,
just a
fish,
stigma
right?
around black people
exactly.
fishing.
Like,
yeah.
oh, you probably got chicken liver and stuff. It's like, no, I've never touched that in my life.
Yeah.
No. And kind of trying to break that and show people, look, you see a dude with dreadlocks, don't jump to that conclusion. That automatically comes to your mind, right? Like, I call myself the biggest oxymoron that you're ever gonna meet. Like, people see me, oh, dude with dreadlocks. But no, I can fix your truck. I like to hunt. I like to fish. Like,
Yeah.
I could like to go fast. I like to race. Like, I'm low key a redneck, but not really. But
Right.
you know, but I can still back that up the other way too. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. And it's a dance for sure. But it's something that I think needs to be brought to light. That there is people of color that enjoy nature, that enjoy the outdoors, that enjoy hunting, and are damn good at it too. Like, you talk about there's Mark Daniels, people that are fishing for Bassmaster Classics.
Think about like
you know?
the genetic instincts behind
Oh, we can get into
Africans
that.
hunting.
Yeah, that's what I'm
you know,
saying.
like
That's what I'm saying. They were
historically, we are hunter gatherers.
Right.
Like we as men would have been hunting more than likely in some of the old generation tribes of Africa,
yeah.
right? Like,
and you think about that was a privilege for like the rich, right? Like hunting was that was just a fun thing to do with my buddies. But people of color, like, we don't kill, we don't eat. Like, I don't know what else you want me to tell you. It's not fun. Yeah, hunting's a way of life. So like, I think that speaks to a lot of things that people don't take into consideration. Like hunting's different for me. Like my fiance now, she was with me. I killed a deer with her, and that was her first experience hunting, and it was like, of course I kill a deer, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. But she wasn't every time after I harvest a animal, I put my hand on its heart and I thank it, like, and I say a prayer. I have a silent prayer that I say, and I mean that's I know what that animal just did. Like I took your life, and I'm gonna but I'm gonna
You have to respect it.
Right, exactly. Like,
I think that's the misconception about hunting that people
I
don't
know,
realize.
100%.
Is that, like,
100%.
hunters are like preservationists.
Right. We love that more than you do, I promise.
Yeah.
We love
You
seeing
have more.
deer.
You have more invested in
no,
a healthy ecosystem than like I do. Like, granted, I've hunted before, and it's something I'd love to do more consistently. I'm a felon right now, so I can't. But fucking dumb for cannabis.
That's another. Yeah.
But like, people don't speak to that a little bit. Like how people might hear me say that and say hunters are preservationists. Hunters have the best interest of the wildlife in mind. And to some people, it seems like a counterintuitive, but it's like, actually, if you understand the logic, it makes complete sense.
That's so true. No, that's so true. And it's great. I was gracious enough to have an opportunity to hunt in the parks of Owatonna a couple of years back. And there was people on both sides of that fence, like, yep, shoot the deer, or you better stay off my property. Like, there was no middle. It was either you're for it or you're against it. And I had a conversation with a lady who was completely against it, but I was set up low-key in her backyard. It was like 20 yards from her, but it was in the park, okay? And I had a conversation with her because she was out there letting her dogs out and saying, get off my property, all this stuff. And I talked to her. I'm like, there's a reason why we're out here. This herd has gotten to a point where it's not safe for the deer themselves. Like, they're going to eat themselves out of food.
And they're all going to go extinct
before they need food this winter to survive. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to have any because there's so many deer. I'm not just going to shoot this deer and leave it in the park. Like, I'm literally going to take this deer home and take care of it. You will never even see it. Like, it'll feed myself,
feed you and your family.
My family, and probably some buddies, like jerky and stuff. And then we had this conversation. It took about 45 minutes, giving her a whole spiel of why we do it, how, like, respectfully we do it. Of course, you're always going to have your oddballs, right? Like, you're always going to have that person that does not have the best interest in mind. That's a hunter. But for the most part, right, like, that mindset's through and through, and we're going to preserve this, and I'm going to thank it, and this is an opportunity that not everybody gets to enjoy, but I do, right? And I was gracious enough. Like, this year I didn't shoot a deer, so venison was slim. I hit one with the truck, but hey. But
did you take it home?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get all the meat because I
you kind of
bibbed
it.
Like, yeah,
you drive a big ass truck too, so
it got to, right? Just for that reason, didn't mess the truck up. I bent the bumper out, and we were cruising back up 35. Bro. I was 5 minutes away from the property too. That's what sucked. It was like, I was like, I'll get jacked, turn the music up, got my song going. Boom. I'm like, oh. All right, well, looks like we're not hunting this morning.
Dang.
But hey, we got a little bit of venison out of that deal. But yeah, no, back on topic.
On track, yeah, you're good.
It's something that I've kind of battled my whole life growing up. I went to a private school that was very liberal, and I hunted while I was at that school. And I don't know, I got yelled at in class when I brought up that I was a hunter by people, and they're like, oh, why you just kill all these animals? They should just live their life. And then I have to explain, if you let all these animals just live their life and never take precautions against that, they're gonna kill themselves. Like, it's gonna be worse in the long run if you just don't
do anything.
Yes,
it's management.
Exactly.
The same way we brush our forest floors,
right,
is kind of what hunting. It's
exactly.
like trimming the grass,
yep.
right? Like, you got to trim it a little bit so it can stay healthy. If you let your grass overgrow,
it's like
it might turn into a nice, pretty
field. What do people do? Prune their flowers?
Field,
is that what it's called? Pruning flowers, or doing something when they cut the leaves
pruning,
off?
But you're cutting like the
better.
so
you cut them and then they
Yep.
grow better. And then you cut them and then they grow better. It's like, that's what you're doing hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Knock some of it down, grow better. And like me, I'm never gonna kill an immature animal. Like if I see one that's wounded, automatic. Old, automatic. I mean, if it's a giant buck, I won't hesitate. But
yeah.
but I don't have any shame in not killing.
And I think,
giant.
I mean, as long as you respect it in the way that you do, and you appreciate the animals, and like you say thank you, like you do. You have almost like a ritual when you kill an animal, right? And I think that is an important aspect that I don't think people realize. When people think of hunting, I think they just think of like
they think of that.
They think of the CEO
1%,
going to kill
you know what I mean?
giraffes,
Yep.
you know,
and
that shit
not doing anything with it. Like that's
that's disgusting.
That pisses, and that's what I'm saying. That pisses hunters off. Like that pisses the people that are actually doing it right and for the right reasons. I mean, they don't like that either. Like we're on your side, but don't group us in with them, because that's not.
So what like initially introduced you to the outdoor lifestyle then? Because did you say that your dad isn't into like?
He is. So it was my mom's side. My mom's side. She grew up on a horse farm in Wisconsin, and they had acres in a ravine, and so we grew up deer hunting there. Fishing was always, my dad got me into fishing. I'm talking knee high in a grasshopper. We were outside of the lake throwing bobbers in there, catching sunnies, and it was just, those were the best days.
That'd be a blast.
Right? Like
those sound like some good memories.
Like
of
that's
Pops.
what I was saying. Like I got a picture of me wearing a life jacket. Oh, it's all big, and I'm outside. It's like the best thing ever. I didn't even have a look at it. I don't even think I had a real lure on that thing. Like it was like one of those little fish you get on at Walmart.
Like a Spider-Man
Right,
fishing pole.
they just messing with me. But it was messed up. But yeah, no, those are some of, like, still to this day. Like, I mean, I've made done some crazy stuff fishing, like memory wise. But looking back on those days, like sitting on a dock with Dad and my brother and catching our limit of bluegills or crappies just randomly one day, and just going home having a fish fry, like that is where you grew up. Like those are the roots. Like that's where I got that interest of, ooh, I felt that tug. I need more of that. Like,
you get sucked into it. Yeah,
like that's where it came from right there.
That's dope.
Sure.
One of the things we talked about before we hit record too is like how dope it is to see like Black people participating in outdoorsmanship, right? Like, or like the image we kind of painted of like a Black dad with his son like fishing off a dock. Even like just talking about it almost like makes me emotional.
It like makes you happy. Like it's like oh, that's heartwarming. Like, I need to see more of that, like in person though. Like not in my brain, not picturing it. I want to drive down the road and not have that be a, oh, look at that kind of sight.
What about that do you think is so exciting to picture or see?
I think because it hits home for us personally. Like it's a part of us and it's a part of us that we don't see. You know what I mean? Like I just said, like it would be weird to drive down the road, say Owatonna for example, and see, you know, a Black father with his son fishing like at Coalmire, that lake in there. Like it would be low key weird to see. But if you saw a white family down there having a picnic fishing,
you wouldn't even look twice.
No, you just continue on with your day. And that, I think, that right there, just that mindset that even we're instilled with, is what I think makes that such a big deal. To see, like, damn, that happens. And yes, it does. It's just not highlighted. Like, it's literally just not highlighted, or those avenues literally just aren't known from those certain individuals. So, I don't know. It's crazy.
I enjoy it just seeing like the stereotypes just being broken.
Oh, I love
that. I think that's to me what like stands out mostly. It's just that like, yeah, I grew up without a dad, so like I fit the stereotype perfectly. Like a Black person who didn't have a fatherly influence, right? Like, so that's part of why I think it hits home for me is like being excited for that kid who gets to enjoy this activity with his father. That's awesome. I'm like thinking like that kid's gonna have a good life, based just on this setting.
Like that gives you hope to see. Like,
yes,
I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I want to see more of it. And then is that a part of what draws you to wanting to like elevate the platform of the Dreaded Outdoors? I think we had maybe hit that earlier.
Yeah, 100. About 110%. I mean, I want to show a kid that wakes up like me, right? Woke up at 5 a.m., watched Bassmasters on ESPN every morning. I want to show a kid like I'll just say that's one of my goals. End goals in life is to fish Bassmaster Classic. But long road, long road to get there. But like, I want a kid to be able to look up fishing and not see just one class of human being. Like, I want a kid to be able to see themselves do the thing that they love, right? Like,
you know the comparison I just thought of? Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I'm just thinking of
cut
like
me off.
Tiger Woods and the PGA.
Right. No,
like,
right.
It's
right.
like predominantly white sport or hobby or whatever. That
person of color doing it, and it's like, let me give that a shit. Let me pick up one of these sticks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When I was younger, I used to joke about this, but like my grandpa gave me a set of clubs when I was like 3 years old. And I would joke about like he wanted me to be the next Tiger Woods, you know, because my grandpa was white and I was like his light-skinned grandson, like the only black person in the family, on that side of the family.
Yeah.
You know, so I joke like, yeah, he wanted me to be the next Tiger Woods, but genuinely like that breaking that type of stigma like that is inspiration for a lot of people. You don't know who that's going to motivate, 100%. Who comes from a background similar to you or similar to me, who's going to come out and be like, oh, I could try fishing. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Like, oh, that seems fun. Like, I like this. I see him doing, okay, hey, you want to buy me a fishing pole for Christmas? Like, let's start
fishing
there.
Pole?
Yeah, right. Like, we're going to try fishing?
Right. I want to see a TikTok of the kid. Did you see that one video? Is like the kid who got like a baseball bat. He was more excited about the bat than the
PS5.
Than the PS5. Yeah, I want to see a kid get like a fishing pole or a rifle or something and be like, oh, I can't believe it.
I was saying, dude, that would be the day.
So
that'd be the day.
Do you also bow hunt still?
I do.
How was that?
I do.
Talk to me a bit about that. I'm curious.
So I grew up gun hunting. That was slug hunting, like shotguns. That was it. Right? Didn't really bow hunt. The season for gun hunting is always after like football season would end, right? So we'd always play sports, and then bow hunting's during football season. We'd have games Friday nights. Like, I ain't waking up Saturday to go hunt after that game. Like, so it was just, I never really bow hunted throughout high school, and then I got into college and played baseball in college. Didn't think about, we had fall ball all fall. We had baseball practice. I was like, well, there goes that. So, but towards the end of football, end of football. What am I talking about? End of college, I kind of started to branch out a little more and just go no matter what, even if I was
So you've only been bow hunting for a couple of years now?
It's only been, I'd want to say, well, in college. I got like in college probably.
But for listeners, how long ago was that?
Before what?
How long ago was that for like people who don't know you?
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's smart. Probably, I want to say maybe like 5 years ago. Okay, is when I started getting like serious.
So you're still kind of fresh into it, almost like you've had.
I've been learning along, like when I was younger, like learning about it on my own.
Do you use a crossbow?
No, I can't. In Minnesota, you got to be 65. To use a crossbow.
To use a crossbow? Oh, it's they only allow it for like elderly. Disability.
Yeah, or
like if you're
or disability. But yeah, so I use compound.
Oh, that's sad. I think of like 65 plus as disabled.
And so the funny thing about that is it's not that way like in other states, right? Minnesota's just like that.
What is it? Is it just a regulation on weaponry in general? Like
it's just it's a hunting regulation. Like you cannot hunt.
I know, but is it like easier to acquire a crossbow than it is a firearm?
It's easier to shoot a crossbow than a compound bow, and the season lasts longer. I'm
just trying to understand as to why they wouldn't allow like.
I don't have a good answer for you there.
Well, difficulty lies in hunting with a compound bow. Yeah, so I think
that's what I'm saying.
For me personally, if anything, I admire that.
And that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted. Like, I was always interested in bow hunting. Just grew up. Gun hunting was like this is what the family did. So that's just what I did. But I always had that interest. Like, damn, like bow hunting, you got to get close. Like. That dude's got to be right there.
You're like actually hunting.
No, right? And that's the other thing. Like it's like now this.
Not that you're not hunting with a rifle, but
right. No, but these last couple of years, I got into spot and stock hunting. So that's like that actual like, found one. I'm about to go try to creep up on you.
Yeah.
And get into your territory.
You're turning on your animal instincts.
And it's like that's the most fun I've had in the woods is when I got to 35 yards on this like little buck, and I think I crawled on my belly like 170 yards or something like that to get there. and then he winded me last second, and he blew.
Oh man!
But I was
like he smelt you through. Okay.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
like the wind. So it was through a bean field, and I was literally in between the rows on my belly, just crawling, and I kept looking up. And I just see his antlers. It was like really early season, so the beans are still green and tall, and I could just see his antlers. I'm like, okay, I'm getting there, and I'd have to like hop over a couple rows and then crawl a little more. I'm like, I'm getting there, and I range him 35 yards, and like all of a sudden I just felt the wind just like swirl and go right at him, like literally just do like this isn't gonna happen for you, Trey. And
man,
he usually a deer when they smell, like they'll like get up and look and give you a second, like they'll stand up
where you could take a shot. Maybe
I was already drawn, like right when I felt that wind, like I was just like on my back and I drew. So if he stood up, it was just gonna have to be a quick. I just gotta lay it on him. Didn't even.
Just took off.
No, he just bolted. Man. And I was like, what was that? Let it down. I was like, no, okay, sick.
That's got to be disappointing as shit.
Oh, I had to lay down. I was like, I couldn't breathe. My heart was. It was brutal, but it was so much fun. Like that's what made me like, okay, I'm gonna get up tomorrow and I'm gonna go try to do that again.
So have you killed a buck with a bow then yet?
I did in the parks. Yeah.
Okay.
In the park. That was my first.
Oh yeah.
That was my first.
And that behind that lady's house.
I killed 2 deer in one day in the park, which was the craziest thing I've ever kind of done in my life. But yeah, no, that was the doe came and it was weird. You had to shoot a doe before you could shoot a buck.
That was
First
just the regulation of the tag, or
of the park hunt. It was an earn a buck. So.
Well, I mean, if that's is that just like a tactic of population management?
Yeah,
like you need to get rid of more does
than bucks.
Gotcha.
But of course, as luck would have it, first light buck walks out. Can't shoot it.
Oh,
it's
man.
the first deer I saw in the parks, and I was like, really? Like, come on, really? And I'm sitting there, and like people start walking by, and I'm like, all right, I'm screwed. People walk their dogs by. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to see a deer.
Not killing anything.
15 minutes later, here comes a doe and the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life. I'm talking 150, giant. Just comes by, and I'm like, can't shoot him. Got to shoot the doe first. Shoot her. She runs off, dies 40 yards out. And he just hangs out, but he like stays too far to get a shot. But I knocked an arrow, and I'm like, hey, come over here, brother. Like, I want to see. Let me see. And then literally got her taken care of and went back up the same stand that night. And a buck was
that
there.
buck just trying to get laid? Like, was he?
Yep.
And was he thinking?
100%.
Was he thinking like, oh, she just took off? Like, because there's no sound of a rifle,
right? So there's not, and those deer are not. They're just used to human scent.
People.
So like that buck looked right up at me, and if I didn't move, but like he was just like, yeah,
what's up,
whatever, yeah, like how you doing? Like
good,
I see a person, you probably taking pictures or something.
You got any weed, fam?
Right, right. Like what you got up there, cracker? Like I'll take one of them from you. Last dude had some, but no, he just hung out like nothing happened. There's people grilling in the backyard. It was the weirdest deer hunting
that's weird
I've ever done. Yeah, but there was deer all over, and there's just people enjoying life. Like it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So the outdoors are obviously a passion.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking before about wanting to combine your passion for outdoors with your other passion, which would be the occupation that you work in, the field that you work in.
Yeah.
Would you consider that a passion?
Oh yeah.
Because I know,
oh, yeah.
I knew what you did for a job before I was talking about it tonight.
Right.
And I think that was because you talked about doing having this position before.
I think so.
Like in the past.
Yeah,
like so what do you do for work? Just to fill people in.
Technical term, diversion case manager. So basically how I like to explain it, I keep kids out of the system. Honestly, it's for a first time nonviolent offense. We have a contract through Headway. Emotional Health is who I'm hired by. That's my company's name. But we have a contract through the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, and kids, juveniles that come through the system with a first-time nonviolent offense, anything like shoplifting, anything. I've gotten a motor vehicle theft, things like that. Like it's kind of, some of them are kind of hairy of qualifications, but they send them through, and my role is to do the best to hook them up with certain systems or services that address those underlying issues that may be causing the behaviors. And a lot of it stems back to mental health, under non-addressed mental health issues that stem from parents and other relatives in the family, and just the environments that these kiddos are growing up in, and just kind of setting not even a lot of times the juveniles, but families in general up with just support systems, case managers, different programming for behavior, different outlets for like counseling and I'm looking for a word, like mentorship programs. A lot of the times those are really good for us. We have like a boxing mentorship program, so little badass kiddos that come in that have a bunch of fights on their record and get on fights at school every day. Like,
yeah, they're like, here,
box.
do this.
Yeah, because that program's sick. Like, they teach you how to like live like a boxer, so like the disciplines and how to eat right and live your body and all that stuff. So it's a pretty in-depth.
It sounds dope because like that kind of program sounds like it's assisting a child in like finding identity.
Right. No, right. And that's the kind of thing that I like. It's that non-traditional style of help. It's not, I'm going to assign you 6 therapy sessions, and then you got to go sit with some guy in an office that you don't feel comfortable with and talk about your life. Like, to me, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. Like, I got to connect with somebody to open up, right? So to have that non-traditional setting in a boxing ring, for example, like we were just talking about, like, for me, some kid that wouldn't open up otherwise might feel more inclined if they get that relationship, like, oh, this dude's teaching me how to box. Okay, how's school going? All right. Yeah, how was your day-to-day? Like, what did we do as he's taking punches? Just things like that, and working that therapeutic lens in that way. It's a really cool way of thinking to me, and I gravitate to that stuff.
I think it's really dope.
Yeah.
And again, it's admirable. I mean, to want to have that type of pursuit, to want to help these kids in that way, like, it's admirable, and it's important. It's needed. That there's definitely large populations of youth that are almost completely forgotten about.
Right.
Yeah. I've said this before, but like, if I was a kid during like this pandemic, like, I would have had such a hard time.
Oh.
Like, school and sports was an escape, bro.
I'm saying, to be able to, after school, you go to school, and then you had a shitty day at school, and then it's like, it's all right. I got football. It's all right. I'm going to go see my boys at practice. It's all good. Like, we're going to go kick it. Like, but we're going to go to sports, or we got this, we got that. Like, that could,
something to look forward to.
Right.
Like we talked about before.
Right. And
like,
that gets you through a lot of those. I mean, public school sucks. Let's be real. Like,
yeah,
you run into some stuff.
Yeah.
Some days.
And like that boxing program that you referred to before is kind of like in line with another thing we were talking about before the show, and I kind of alluded to, is what I imagine you doing with your career path is some form of like outdoors therapy for youth.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's, after getting into this diversion program job, and I'm seeing how those non-traditional programs work, I'm just thinking, I'm like, why don't we have an outdoor program? Like, why don't we have one that someone can take a kid hiking, fishing. I'm not talking go out on a deer hunt and do all this crazy, but even squirrel hunt, like small game stuff, like
even
to get them
just going outside
or
period.
Yeah, right.
Like,
just
and learning how to identify a tree or plant life.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's poison ivy. Don't touch that. Like, this is a regular leaf. You could touch this.
Sometimes I get pride when I'm able to like identify something.
And then
I'm like, oh, I know what that is.
That kid could go on a trip in high school, right, and be all like, oh boy taught me about that program. That's poison oak. That's poison ivy. This is why this is different. You know what I mean? Like, and he can feel that. I know what I'm talking about.
Well, and not only that, like, nature is a part of us as beings.
Yes,
that's a part of our existence.
Yep.
Being disconnected from nature, as in wilderness, but just like the nature of the earth and our reality, like
where
that
it came from.
We live in these man-made buildings, but like they're made out of the earth. Like we should be connected in a lot of ways to like the living specimens that are in the wild, plant life, animal life, waterways. Like we need sunshine Like we need to be
Vitamin D.
absorbing. Yeah, we need to
Yes.
be like absorbing this fresh air,
Yes.
vitamin D, like you
Yes.
said, and like being outside releases specific chemicals in the
Does.
brain that are like satisfying.
Yeah.
Right. Like
I mean, everyone gets happy in springtime when you can go outside and you
Right.
I remember growing up in elementary school, like, oh, now we have art outside or music outside, you know, because it's nice, but it's only like 50 degrees. But in Minnesota, after a winter, that's like we're
that's
t-shirts
warm.
and shorts.
Yeah.
So
I remember my rule when I was a kid was like, as long as it's over 40 degrees, you can wear
Yep,
shorts.
Exactly.
You
It's
know?
like, let's go.
40
That
degrees?
sun is shining. Put black on. It'll hit you right.
It'll
Like,
hit you
you'll
warmer.
Be,
Yeah,
you'll be
exactly.
Good. You'll be good.
And I know for myself, like part of my recovery from substance abuse and just addiction, really, I don't even know how to refer to that because I'm still a fucking like addict in certain senses of the word. So it's not as if I'm recovered from the disease of addiction.
Right. Itself.
You know?
Yeah.
But part of what assisted me and enabled me to move past my darkest days was reconnecting with nature. Was realizing, oh shit, like outside's dope when it's like summertime and I don't have shit to do. Like we were saying before, we could just go for a walk.
Yep.
And that is satisfying.
Yep.
It feels good. It's fulfilling
Yeah.
in some ways.
That's so
right?
true.
And
That's so true.
yeah, it's just I see that as being potentially and almost certainly very impactful, especially to like the community that you're working with, which we didn't even say. Where are you working right now?
So yeah, my main office is Brooklyn Center, but so we deal with Hennepin County. That's kind of the caseload. So anywhere in Hennepin County, I could get a case from there or a family from there, but my office basically Brooklyn Center, and then we have one in Richfield.
So what did you go to school for?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Was my major, and then it's not on paper, but I just kind of took more juvenile justice geared classes towards that major because adults are, in my mind, going into it, like I could change a kid.
You can mold a kid.
You could have more of an impact on a juvenile than you can on being a probation officer that you're just checking in with a 45-year-old. That was my mindset going into it, and I'm like, I want to make a difference. Like I want to change someone's life. Like I really want to change a kid's life. I want to be that dude that kid says that conversation with Trey that messed me up, but it changed my life. Like I needed that kick in the ass or that help, that support, whatever that conversation was, like that. Yeah, okay, I want to be that.
I imagine you being particularly potent in these like conversations with these kids, man.
Oh, I'm pretty transparent too. Like I don't really sprinkle sugar on shit. That's something that my dad used to say a lot. Like I don't beat around the bush. Like I'm literally gonna tell you if I think you're lying, I'm gonna tell you like that's bullshit. That's not what happened. I know that's not what happened. Tell me the truth. I'm not here to get you in trouble. Like I'm literally here to help you get this off your record, keep you out of trouble, and like help you have a better future.
Help me
here.
help you.
Yeah, like so. Tell me the truth here. What happened? Like, because if there's something else, like if you stole this or did this for a different reason, other than I just didn't like him.
Right.
Come on now. What really? What's going on here?
Well, that's one thing we talked about before the podcast too. We talked a lot before the podcast, but like desperation.
Right.
A lot of kids are desperate.
Yep.
They have either parents that are extremely low income, or parents that are addicted themselves, or parents that just simply neglect their child.
Right.
And it's unfortunate, but that's a harsh reality for a lot of kids. And a lot of kids like myself when I was younger become desperate for to fulfill specific needs. If it's food or even love or I started selling weed so that I could participate in extracurricular activities with my friends. Right. Because I was poor growing up. Right. There wasn't much money for me to go to football games. Granted, some of the time when I asked for it, I got it. Right. But I didn't get everything that I asked for per se. I did get a lot of it. Credit to my mom, where like my birthday and Christmas are just 5 days apart. So I would get like one big gift every year generally. And that was like the thing. Right. But yeah, whatever. Besides the point. Like the desperation that fuels some of these actions and oftentimes outcries from youth. I think it's necessary to address. It's necessary to have people that are in your position that are as cool as you, who are as straightforward as you are with these kids. Like it's needed. It's a necessity.
I agree.
It should be a staple of our society.
Yeah.
Right. Like we should have like 20 trays in your office. I don't know how big your office is, but
my diversion team's 3. We literally have 3.
That's it?
We have 3 case managers.
Dude, but are you a district of Hennepin County? Or are you?
We're a nonprofit.
Hennepin County.
Yeah, all of Hennepin.
Do you work for the county, or is it like a special contract?
I work so I work for Headway, and then Headway, that's the nonprofit.
So
and their contract.
So how many people that in the county do you think fill a position similar to yours?
For Hennepin County?
Yeah. Throughout the different companies that might exist. Just an estimate. You don't have to be right now. Just curious.
So that's kind of tricky. So the reason why it's tricky is because sometimes different police departments run their own diversion programs. So they like have a class or something that the kids will go through, and they don't even send the case to Hennepin County Attorney's Office. So I'll never even see it, and that won't ever be like a case. Yeah. The cops will just deal with it, but like in an actual position of people coming from the attorney's office that are diversion case managers, there's us 3.
That's it
in Hennepin County. If to my knowledge, like other than like other entities where they can send
that's
kiddos,
just insane to me.
Yeah, no, that's what I have conversations every night with my fiance about.
If we're gonna uplift like oppressed, impoverished, desperate communities, there needs to be more people fulfilling this role of providing a light to these kids, like showing that there's more to life's experience than how you've experienced it.
Exactly.
You could get into boxing.
Exactly.
You could find out that, throw them through a STEM program, they become an engineer. Like you could find out you have a knack for math, but you might not have had that experience because the school that you go to isn't providing an adequate math education, right?
And it's everything that you're saying and more. Like, I mean, you yourself could keep going. Like, I know you could, like, on what could be, you know what I mean? And it's like, yes, that's why we need this. And it's crazy to me that growing up, I didn't even know about diversion in Owatonna. Like, and now I'm thinking this should be pushed heavy than anything, right?
Yeah.
Like diversion
to me,
it
goes like hand in hand with like harm reduction,
thank you.
Harm reduction approach to like addiction.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Like we can't criminalize addicts for ending up in the situation that they're in. In large part, many times they're addicts or they're doing wrong or like what we perceive as wrong because society failed them in some way. It's not. They're not addicts necessarily because they want to be. Yeah. They might be stuck in their addict attitude because they're choosing to stay there, but they didn't end up there out of their own choosing. I know, like growing up myself, I was like, I'm gonna join the Marine Corps. I'm gonna become an officer, and like all this shit. Like that was like my aspiration when I was a kid.
Life happened.
And then, instead, I become a heroin addict. I didn't set the goal to become a heroin addict.
Right.
No one sets a goal of becoming a fucking heroin addict, right? So, in what ways has society failed these people where they end up in those positions that, that lead them down that path of addiction or even abuse, like where like people that become abusive, they oftentimes have unaddressed traumas that are leading them to treat people with such disdain or such.
And I think you just said something that was key, that unaddressed traumas, right? Like I think that's one of the biggest pieces of the youth that we're seeing is unaddressed traumas. Like these people are seeing people die right in front of them every single day, and it's like, I'm not saying just from police, I'm saying from people in their neighborhoods. I'm like, they're literally, death has just become a part of life for a lot of kids, and it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? And in that fashion, like, sometimes you have to lose a loved one, like a grandma, grandpa, right? Things like that are semi-natural, and other things happen outside of our control. But in the ways that some of these individuals are experiencing death, and they're coming through my door on my case. Like, oh yeah, like they tell me these stories. It's like, and you haven't been in therapy at all, like not once. Like, no, okay, dude, you're 13. Like, you've lost 4 friends in the last 2 years,
and no one came to you to help you address this
mentally.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fine. He's a man. He can grow up.
Or he's black.
Yep. No, and that's what it is. He's a black kid that's 14, but society's going to view him like he's 26.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's a kid. He's
a
not
fucking
okay.
kid.
He's
Yeah.
fucked up.
There's no difference
Low-key.
between
That's what.
Edina 13-year-old and Brooklyn Center
There's not.
13-year-old. A lot of them are doing the same things in their day. A lot of maybe not, but
Right.
a lot of those kids have the same needs, wants, and desires.
Exactly. No, that.
There's
they're-
no
yeah.
difference between the two besides the color of their skin.
Yep.
Their developmental process,
Yep.
the way they're impacted by experiences at that age. Like it's the same.
Yeah.
So why do we treat anyone
Why do we
different
treat it
based on
differently?
what
Right,
neighborhood you're born into? It
Exactly.
makes no sense.
No.
And like I talked about earlier how like I managed to build a support system around myself in Owatonna, and that was large part catalyst for me to recover from heroin addiction. And that like I would still be addicted to heroin if I didn't have the privilege and the luck to fall into an environment where I could build a support system around myself, or even the like fortitude to know that I needed support, right? Like somehow the wisdom to understand that I needed that.
Right.
Like
I agree.
when you don't know what you don't know. So
Yep.
how in any way is a 13, 14-year-old kid gonna understand that they need peers
help.
that have their best interest in mind,
That's what I'm
or
saying.
they need to reach out for help from
Yeah.
someone outside of their friend group, a stranger.
Yep.
You know, you don't know what is out there for you if it's not
Yeah.
around you.
And they've been told their whole life that's you're crazy if you think that way, right? Like the stigmas around mental health are just wild, out of this world. The things that I've heard like coming in, it's like, no, I don't want to be looked at like that by everyone. They're gonna lock me up in the wacky shack. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
we're talking about having a conversation and with
Yeah.
a mentor. Like,
I mean, and a large part of it in like the black community is the distrust for institutions.
Right.
Is there's valid reasons for that community, for the I don't want to like generalize all of black people in America, but I mean specific black communities that have
Right.
been intentionally oppressed by some of these institutions are provided with less. Like there's valid reasons for them to have this distrust in these institutions, but like
that's facts.
how do we deliver ourselves from that
Exactly.
point in history? It's like it's
Exactly.
like a conundrum. We're
Yep.
like stuck, and there's not. At least we're talking about it.
No,
though.
and I think that's the first step, right?
Yeah.
So someone's got to say it.
That's one thing I when I'm having these conversations, I feel kind of like gloomy.
Right.
That's one thing I fall back on all the time. It's
I
like
hear you.
at least we're talking about it though,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're orientating towards solutions
Yep.
as opposed to just dwelling on it. Oh no,
Yep.
this is
Damn.
this is horrible. I feel so bad for the black kids in Brooklyn Center who have
Right.
no support besides Trey and his 2 other coworkers.
Right.
Oh no. But at least we're coming up with
Yep.
things that we imagine as being potential solutions
Right. No,
to
exactly.
that
Exactly.
effort or like
Exactly.
or that.
It's not just stalemating
scenario.
at this conversation.
Yeah.
Like we could.
I'm fucking sick of feeling sad for people.
I know.
I'm so
I'm
sick
right
of
there
it.
with you though. Like it's just too much. Like it's.
I have so much fucking empathy.
I know. I just feel like I'm a great person. I don't mean to sound so. Like, I don't mean to sound.
I'm
like
glad
a
you said
dickhead.
it, bro, because now
Like,
I can agree with you.
I don't mean
I
to
feel like I'm
sound-
a great fucking person
like,
too.
Like I don't mean to sound like an arrogant prick, but I feel like I'm a great person,
Yeah.
and there is just not enough great people in the world like that have general interests in mind. You know what I mean? Like I care about you. Like if something happens to you or something is affecting you that's happening in this world, I care about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just not. It's like no, that ain't affecting me. So fuck that. I don't get
Right. And
later.
That's absolutely true. And I think large part, like the reason people neglect other people's feelings or emotions or invalidate other people's experiences is because they haven't been, they might not have the capacity to to understand what someone else is going through, or through their own experience, they also were failed by society in a specific way that they feel like, well, why should I care about this kid? I had it so much worse than that kid could possibly have it. Look at me. I'm fine. Fuck that kid.
They
right?
can figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that mentality.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Mm-hmm. I can't stand it.
Like, it's insane to me that somebody that has struggled doesn't want to make sure that anybody else has to go through that.
Seriously.
Like, after let's just say, like, simple shit, not even talk about some big life changing, like, stuff. Make a mistake on something at work or find something that's messed up with paperwork. I'm going to fix it so that the next time me or somebody else that's using this document comes through, they don't have to.
They don't have to deal with
simple
it.
things like that.
Right.
But, like, that doesn't happen.
Right.
And I mean, you could take that tenfold into seriousness and everything like that. Like, come on now. You just got to care about others.
I got to pee really bad.
Go pee.
All right. You can riff for a sec. I'll be like
I'll riff.
a minute. Just like
I'll riff.
talk to the peoples, bro.
I got you.
All right.
I got you.
Tell them something special.
Ooh, something special. Something special.
Not to put weight on it. Tell them what it is.
No, yeah, I got you. Well, yeah, first I'm going to start off by saying this is a huge shout out to Justin, man, for having me. This is awesome. This is dope. I'm having a blast. We're great buddies, so we talk all the time. And we got that history growing up in Owatonna, and it was one of the best times of my life. I mean, he was in our friend group in high school, and that friend group that you leave high school was pretty important. So I still talk with a lot of those guys that he mentioned, and Justin, of course. So, but no, this is fun. If you guys are interested in me at all, I should say, the Dreaded Outdoors, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I'm gonna try to upload better video content more often, and just get better. I did have a little accident last year. All my fishing gear / camera gear kind of blew out of the boat going like 60. So we're starting over, regrouping on filming gear and everything like that. But yeah, 2021 got some big things happening. Got some big announcements coming that I really can't talk about yet because they're not really official, but they kind of are. But yeah, it should be a good year, y'all. I'm excited for 2021. It's not really starting well, let's say in a societal sense, right? Like, we're still in 2020 if we're thinking there, but hey, should be fun. If me and Justin keep doing podcasts like this, I mean, we were talking. I don't want to give too much away, but we were talking of maybe getting one going on the ice, doing a little ice fishing podcast. Might be sick.
How was it?
It was great. We had a great conversation. I think I actually heard him talk back once or twice too, so it was sick.
Bro, are you delusional? Are you good, fam?
I'm good.
Do I need to call you a case manager?
Yeah, please.
Might need to get you a
Call my
support system.
coworker.
Yeah. So let's see. I haven't even really looked at my notes. I think we talked about most of it, but like, what's up, bro? What else has been on your mind recently?
Oh, dude, a lot. A lot has been on my mind. I'm in a commercial.
You're in a commercial.
I'm in a commercial. iGogs.
iGogs, the
Yeah,
sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's cool
so
as
they're
shit.
like, I'm hoping that it's gonna lead to like one of my sponsors for this tournament fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, if I do North Outdoors, FSN North, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So Ron Shera picked like iGogs, and they're doing like, they did a commercial, and like on their Instagram he picked pictures, and like 2-3 of them are my pictures that I sent iGogs that I wear, and like they sent me a couple pairs of sunglasses, and I took some pics with fish, and they love them, and so yeah, they put me in a damn commercial, bro.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool as
Dude,
shit.
it jacked me up. It's like, I don't know, it's like not like it's on ESPN or anything, but it's, for me, like that's,
Either way, it's
bro,
cool.
That's huge.
It's progress.
Yeah.
It's like
no,
it's,
exactly.
It's
That's what I'm saying. It's
inspiring.
one of those little steps. Like, okay, bro,
Yeah.
we're making it.
I don't know if we talked about this or if this was in a text convo I had earlier. I don't know. But we were talking about how like those baby steps oftentimes can feel inspiring.
Oh.
Like
You can just feel like you're because you actually feel like you're gaining ground. Like
Yeah.
usually it's that stalemate, you know, like I'm grinding, but I just don't see the payoff. But when you see that little bit of, ooh,
it's like
here's an attaboy.
It's like in a
it's
video
nice.
game when you have like a completion bar that's like filling up. And you're at like 22%, and then iGogs hits you up, throws you a couple pair. You imagine them as like a sponsor in the future. And you're like,
right.
And you're like, let's go. You know, like you're stoked. Little progress.
Right. No, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
that's a good way to look
life's
at
a
it.
fucking video game.
It
bro.
is, bro. It really is.
It really is. Your decisions now determine your future in a lot of ways.
There ain't no restart. Like,
right. Yeah. Is there not though? I mean, maybe there is.
I'm about to come back as a tiger. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I mean,
I think a tiger would just be sick.
I don't think that I decide what I reincarnate as, but I can tell you ultimately the goal is to not reincarnate.
Why?
Because to like think of like Hinduism.
Okay.
Like in Hindu, you reincarnate.
Yep.
Until you don't. And when you don't is when you've like reached nirvana.
you.
That's
I
like
hear
a
you.
paraphrase version. But
Right.
you've elevated your soul so much that you don't have to come back and add to your experience still. There isn't another perspective for you to gain. You have fulfilled your human experience, and now you're something greater than what you are now.
See, I didn't think about it like that.
That thing that's greater than what you are now is still you, and it's still a part of you. It's within you. It's around you.
That's why it's so great.
Right. But there will be a point
He said,
in our evolutionary cycle, right, where we transcend ourselves as human beings and we become our higher selves.
I hear you.
I think.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's my goal. So when I die,
I just always want to be a tiger. So
I mean, tigers have been my favorite animal since I was a little kid. So do we have that in common?
I think we might. Now
That's fucking dope.
I mean,
that's sick.
That's dope. Like light skin shit, you know.
Bro, what's it like being engaged?
Bro, being engaged is literally the most.
It's
the biggest weight lifted off my shoulders.
Really?
I'll be honest.
In what way?
So like.
In like the sense
Actually,
of like security?
For me, no, for myself, not even that. I knew she was the one. Like I didn't have any doubt in my mind that I was gonna marry her. Like that was just it. It was just kind of picking the time, right? But like the weight off my shoulders, in a sense, for us, right? Like because I always knew I wanted to, but like I didn't know when and I didn't know how. And now that it's done, I don't have to think about it. Like it's done, right? So it's over. So it's that part of my life now. We just have to plan a wedding, and she can help me with this. That was the most stressful couple of days. I had a buddy help me. Like I was trying to be all secretive with her, like
to plan the proposal.
Yeah, and she didn't put it together that it was on the day. Like she had no idea, and I was like, oh, she's gonna bust me, bro. And then we pull up. The dude that I call it. She knew him too from college. A dude that I called to help me. Guy pulls like right up next to me, and I'm like, dude, like
you're gonna ruin this,
get
dog.
out of here. And she goes, oh, what's he doing here? And I'm like, oh, dude, it's over. Like, it's over. But not like he bailed. Like, I had another buddy text him to bail. Like, it was just so stressful. And then we were looking for a brick that I signed. It's just wild. Right? Yeah. But the other weight that got added is that quite like instant tell family. Oh, when's the date?
I didn't think that far yet,
bro.
dog.
Like, no, I had not thought that through once. Like, and they're, so you guys thinking like within the next like summer? No, like no, not even close, bro. Like, we're in a pandemic. I don't want to have a Zoom wedding. Like, I want to have a party. Like, I want to have my boys. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm getting married. Like, I'm gonna have a party with everybody, and I want to have it big. Like, and we both talked about that. That's what we want, and. I mean, we don't have any problem waiting a couple. Like I don't care, and we want to save up and be able to afford a damn wedding and not
do something extravagant with it.
Yeah, like not just have to get by because of that. Like, want to be able to have it be our day. So, and we have no problem waiting. It's the family. Yeah, it's just every holiday, bro.
Did you set a date yet?
No,
you still haven't?
No.
When did you propose? You said September 9th?
September 9th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, how do I remember that?
I don't know. That was good.
You
That
said
was
it once,
great.
but
Yeah,
like,
that was.
Someone tells me their birthday. I'm like, yo, when? Wait. When's your birthday
I
again?
suck at birthdays, bro.
I'm so bad.
Suck at birthdays.
I remember my ex's birthday because it's right next to one of my homies' birthday, the 5th and 6th of May. I remember my girl's birthday and my mom's birthday and my own birthday. Okay, now that I started on that, I remember a few birthdays.
I hear.
But
Yeah. I was
Not
just about to
that
say. Now
many.
that I started thinking about it, like I remember, I can remember a
couple.
few. But
Remember
like,
back in the day when we used to remember phone numbers?
bro? How? I was like, I gotta.
I had a phone book in my head, dog.
Yeah, facts. That's
a
facts,
phone
bro.
book.
And like you could tell who was calling you.
Yes.
Like you could literally be like, nah, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, and you could know.
Grandma,
like, yeah.
sorry, I'll call you back.
Like, that's mom's number.
Yeah.
She'll get me at the voicemail. But like it was
Legit, dude.
like,
Fuck.
how dumb have we gotten?
Is it dumb?
Or is it using intelligence in different ways?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
Okay.
did we just free up some capacity?
I was just that's what I was just about to say. How much
Yeah.
wasted space was back then?
Yeah.
And
Well, think about how much wasted space. I probably just filled phone numbers with song lyrics. The
That's
phone
true.
numbers I don't have to
That's
remember.
so true,
I just
bro.
remember like
I can remember,
Chirac
yeah.
by Montana 300. You know?
Word for word.
Yes.
Word for
Absolutely.
word.
You remember banging that in math
Oh,
class?
100%.
That-
Who is our teacher, bro?
It
who
was
is that?
I think.
Yeah,
He's a football coach?
Wasn't it Maine?
I don't know. No, that
Did
doesn't
we call him
sound familiar.
Gucci Mane?
The teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't
You
sound
said
familiar.
the teacher?
I mean, I had to make sure. That don't sound familiar at all.
I thought we called him. I don't know. Maybe I'm off.
I don't know. Either way,
But that was back. Yeah, we. Yeah,
It was
back
tight.
Chirac in math class. That's
yeah,
facts.
I was lit.
That was fun. We got it popping.
That was such a shit student in high school.
Same. I
Yeah.
passed high school on woods and welding classes. I got to woods 8, bro.
There's that many?
I don't.
Is that like
know.
a 2-person class?
No, like I took 8 different woods classes.
I know, but like once you get to that,
I don't know.
how many people were in your class? In Woods
Like,
8?
16.
Oh,
There was a bunch of people,
there's a
but
few.
I think they meshed like classes. But
Okay.
you just like these people could only build a cabinet, and you like it was so blatantly segregated. Like these people are the elites because they're building gun
Yeah.
cabinets and like entertainment centers, and these guys are building like nightstands like without a drawer. Like you
Yeah,
just got
or like
gaps.
little light boxes. Did you
Yeah.
ever build those?
Yeah,
With the stained glass or whatever?
Yep, and then
Yeah.
the pop can in there. Everyone built one of them.
Yeah, those are tight. What
Yeah.
I don't know what. So what's up? What's next?
Bro.
So wait, I remember I had a question earlier. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember what it pertained to.
Okay.
I'm curious about like competition fishing.
Yeah. Okay.
Like how
We
does
can get into
how
that.
does how do- like what describe to me what the road would look like for you to be a part of a Bassmaster Classic.
long basic. Okay, so the road in my head, right, is to basically get more into just the tournament fishing community in Minnesota to start with. Like there's a pretty big scene right now, and there's a bunch of different series that go on, and that's that step I'm taking this year is to kind of get into a bigger league, to kind of get my name out there and just kind of meet people and start the journey. But then from there, you can go. There's different ways to get to a Bassmaster Classic. You can win a Bassmaster Open, which you basically got to pay your way to fish in one and win it.
Is
You
that
punch your
typically
ticket?
covered by sponsors, or is
Not
it?
all,
not
not
at
all
all?
of it.
Okay.
They're pretty like expensive, like in the thousands for entry fees for those ones. But like
Why is it so expensive to enter a competition like that?
you win first place and you get like $20,000.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, they're the championships like $100,000. Like, yeah, you can win some money. Like,
And it probably comes with like a sponsorship, not like
Yeah, and
not,
then,
maybe
like-
not in the prize pool,
Right.
but like just out of recognition. For
right,
winning
right,
that
yeah. And then
size
like
of a
the more,
competition.
the bigger you get, like the more people and companies reach out. Like, hey, if you use our fishing reels, we'll sponsor you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they just send you. So then that kind of expense is cut out. You know what I mean? Like, so then you're not spending your money on rods and reels and line, and it's just sent to you by a company to promote them.
Gotcha.
So like, there's that side of things, right? Like that side of the whole industry that you
so
gotta.
you start by connecting,
right? Yeah,
with
you
the
gotta
local community.
kind of promote yourself. That's what kind of the Dreaded Outdoors is all kind of about, just to make my platform bigger, get your platform going, kind of reach out to like I mean, I don't think there's really a textbook way to do it. I'm reaching out to smaller Minnesota-based companies. Like iGogs was started in Lakeville, I believe. And
I didn't know that. That's
there's
cool.
and there's some other, like Omnia Fishing is in Golden Valley, and they sell like everything that you can ever think of. And it's not like a Cabela's, but it's still a place where you could go stock your stuff up, right? Like, and reaching out to those Minnesota-based smaller companies and trying to get them aware, like growth as well as myself. And I think that might be just a good way to start on the sponsorship side. And then, as that grows and you can prove to your sponsors and to yourself that I can bring customers to you, or I can bring awareness to your product, then, those bigger names start coming in and asking you to, hey, talk about this next time you're on stage. And I don't know if you ever flip through the channels and you see it and they have a weigh-in, a lot of the guys that'll go, they'll say like, yeah, couldn't have been here without Spiderwire, Toyota trucks, all that, and they'll literally say all their sponsors. And that's there was some stuff a couple of years ago. I mean, you heard people miss sponsors and like they don't like
It was an issue.
Yeah, like they don't really like that too much, right? And like also you get paid for that. Like the company will pay you like $100 if you wear their logo, right? Like on stage, or they got that. So there's like other things mixed in like that.
So when would you be classified as a professional fisherman? Like at what point do you become a pro? Is it by winning a Bassmaster Pro, or is it by qualifying for one? Or
I mean, I feel like when you're legit a pro is when you're only doing it. The thing, like only fishing for a living, right? Like a lot of these guys that are even fishing the opens, like they got a 9 to 5. They're just a weekend warrior and they're the best at it, right? Like
I know a guy that was grinding fishing so hard. He was hustling like 50 packs of weed a week, so that was so that he could afford to pursue his goal of becoming a pro fisherman.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love it.
I thought it was sick.
Yeah.
I'll tell you his name afterwards.
I love it.
In case you run across him. You'd be like, oh, no way.
No, I love that.
But, so it takes time and it takes dedication.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, winning a fishing competition, like, how much skill is involved and how much of it is luck?
So a lot of people think that it's luck. Like a lot of people think it's just like you go out and fish, and it's like
I'm
you
just
stumble
genuinely
across.
curious. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I literally thought, oh, these guys are just like the most lucky people. You get into it and you start like dissecting it. Like there's pre-fishing days before, right? So before the tournament day, you can go out. There's like 2, depending on the size of the tournament, I should say. But there's a lot of times like 2 days dedicated to pre-fishing where you can go out and find schools
Get
of
a
fish.
vibe
You
for
can,
the lake.
Yeah, you can go learn the lake. What kind of structure are they conjugating on? Like, what are they feeding on? Are they feeding up? Are they feeding down? Are they eating shad in the morning? Like this type of all these little variables that could play into how you fish it and what lures you throw and where you start. Like, there's a couple days where you can go break that down, and then tournament day is literally all about being efficient on your spots, pulling up on your spots,
Not
catching the
spending
biggest
too much
fish
time
there,
in one place,
right?
or not
Knowing
spending
when
too
to
much time on a
leave.
lure if you're not getting a bite.
Exactly. Like it's decision making, and it's got to happen just like quick. And
Sounds difficult then, actually.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot more than just fishing.
I have a hard time just making decisions.
I hear you.
In general.
No, I hear you.
Let alone being like, oh, is this spot going to hit? I don't know.
Right.
Should I stay here?
Right.
I don't know. Like, I would fumble with that question for probably the entirety of the tournament. And then, then I wouldn't catch shit. And I'd be like, oh, I guess I should have left. And then, like, fuck.
No, right. And no, something that I've been learning, the past few years that I getting into tournament fishing is those bigger guys, they'll go find fish, right, in those pre-fishing days, and they'll get a big bite. Like, they'll just get thumped, and they won't set the hook. And they'll just, like, shake it off, and they'll just let their lure go.
So they can
and they
go
won't
back
hook
for
it.
that fish next time?
Because once you hook it, the likeliness of that fish biting again, it goes way down for a decent amount of time. But, like, yeah, if you don't hook it, and a lot of times those guys, like, there's some pretty sick YouTube clips of like guys go back, there she is, like there's one from practice. Oh, I got her. And like, it's just dope. And like, they pull up on 5 fish throughout the day. Like, cause it's your best 5.
Oh yeah.
Best 5 to the scale. And there's, I mean, yeah, I got a fish here. I have another fish over there.
So is there like different categories or classes that you can win? Is there like a biggest weight and then like?
So yeah, there's usually
length, or I guess
so
length and
usually
weight go hand in
online
hand, but-
tournaments go by length, which is dope.
Okay.
So there's like online tournaments on an app, Fish Donkey.
Because it's more difficult to fake the length of a fish.
Because it has to be on like, you know, a ruler with the little like an L ruler.
You could
right?
stuff some
Right, put some
sinkers,
weights in there, yeah.
some sinkers in a fish.
Pounder.
Yeah,
That ain't no.
I
five.
don't know, bro. That's a pound and a
That's
half
your hands
fish
pulling
dog.
down the tail. Like, come on. But no, like in the measuring ones, you literally take a picture of the fish on the on the board. Yeah, on the app, and then you upload it, and then whoever the tournament director goes through and he checks, like, okay, verifies that's a valid fish, puts it in, use total length.
Is that something that's new?
Kind of, but not really. I was doing it kind of before I got like a boat to do tournaments with. Like, that's what I would kind of do, and I'd just fish from the bank and like.
Because you can do it from your own.
Yeah,
Location,
you could do it from wherever. So it's like nationwide, and like I remember.
That's cool.
I got like the
you can go to your own secret spot.
That's what I'm saying. So like these little ponds that I knew had like giants for no reason.
Or
like,
you stocked it with giants. Like why not do that?
do that. And no, and I got 3rd place in one of them and won like a bunch of lures and a prize pack of decals and stuff.
That's
I was
sick.
like, bro, this is
probably useful
this
too.
is sick.
And fun.
Like, yeah,
like turn your hobby into just.
It was free
fun.
to enter, like.
Oh.
But like, and some of them are like $5, $10, $20.
When we go ice fishing, we're definitely gonna enter.
Oh,
one,
there's some ice fishing tournaments out there.
So
yeah.
just like a teaser, we're gonna do a podcast from an ice fishing house this winter. We should have just done this one from an.
We should have.
It's
That
okay.
would have been lit.
It's
'Cause
okay.
I got lights, bro. We can do it at night. No, we can do it during the day. We can do
But
whatever we
I
want.
don't give a shit.
We'll talk.
I think it'll just be fun.
Yeah. We'll be talking about
because I've been ice fishing just once in my life before.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we got to get that going.
So
So went
when-
Julius though. Julius only went once.
Really?
With me. Yeah.
We'll bring him back.
Yeah.
LSR on the
boy's
lake.
down in Arizona though.
Oh, he moved to Arizona?
Yeah.
I thought he moved to Colorado.
He moved to Arizona.
Oh, that's.
I think they
fucking
were
cool.
just visiting
I have
Colorado
so many
recently
friends
though.
that have moved to Arizona now.
Really?
Well, 4.
That's a lot though.
That is a lot.
Like, that's a lot
I
for
have 4 friends that have moved to Arizona in the past 2 years now.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a lot to have
Yeah.
like moved to a certain, especially from Minnesota too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep. Each of them.
That's weird,
It's
actually.
interesting,
Like, that's actually like
They're just
something
a bunch of pussies that couldn't handle winter. Bitch asses.
I think Jules moved out for a girl.
Pussy. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, bro.
You said it, Jules, not me.
Now he said it, dog. Did you go back? Rewind it.
Oh boy.
So when it comes to like rules in a fishing competition, like,
Yeah.
can you do like your drop shot tactic that we were talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
What regulation is there as far as like what equipment you can have on
Yeah,
board
so a
and
lot
stuff?
of them, the only real like regulation for like equipment is like no live bait. It's got to be all artificial. So you can't use like minnows or.
Why is that? Is
It's-
there a difference in like catch probability?
Yeah,
and-
so your fish are more likely to eat live bait than artificial. So like
so it takes more skill.
it takes
when you're
more
using
skill to
artificial
use
lure.
artificial, right? In a sense. Now, not necessarily, because I've seen people like ice fishing is a great example where someone will be in the house next to you using live minnows and you're using plastics, slaying, completely
not
dead,
catching anything.
right? Like, so it's, but
There's a lot of factors.
yeah, but in a general sense, yes, fish are going to eat live bait better than artificial.
Okay.
So there's that. I mean, you can't be drunk, no beers, which is low key. I think is normal, but I don't think that might be slept on for people because I mean, people think of like fishing and it's kind of like a redneck sport. Like, oh yeah, they'll have beers and like no, like not even.
So why is that? Is it
Because
just
you're
for
operating. I mean, these
orderly
boats,
and like
the boats go 75, 80.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
and you're cooking. So like,
Right.
there's no room for
Like
having a
get-
couple
be
brewskis
all-
with the
be
boys,
all like
and
hammered in a competition driving a high-powered machine on top of water.
People pulling
like,
up to weigh and like,
or,
we're here, boys.
like you're just about to hit the clock. Like you got to rush back. All of a sudden you're flying up on the
Right,
dock.
like,
Or like
who is this dude? Elmer. God, here we go again.
you're all drunk and you're like, fucking Steve catches all the big fish. Fuck Steve. And you just ride right over his.
Pop a hole in his boat. Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't drink it. Probably for those reasons exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's things like that. Like you can't. They check your live well before you blast off to make sure that you're not.
Don't have live bait.
Don't have.
Or what'd you say? What was
live well? So like that's where you keep the fish before weighing.
Oh, so you can't just like bring one with you.
Yeah. Like I found a 10-pounder at the pet store. Threw that in there. No, I can't do that. So they check that. I don't know. I gotta wear a life jacket every time the big motor is on.
Just for safety.
Yeah, when it's off.
I'm sure the facilitators of the competition are liable for injuries in some way or another.
At some point, right?
Yeah.
Like everything's got to be so. And other than like, there's like other certain like rules, like you only fish.
But it sounds like general things. So like it sounds like, to my surprise, there's actual, like, it takes a lot of skill. It sounds like a lot of tactic, a lot of like intuition, practice. I'm sure to figure out what works best for you. What's like the variety of styles in a competition? Like, is there a spectrum of types of bait, type of rod,
so
lure?
and I think that gets more interesting the more south you get in some cases, I should say, because those are a lot of man-made lakes down there. So like they're big reservoirs. So they'll have creeks that are 5-7 feet that get really shallow, and then they'll have a 140-foot basin out in the middle, or it's a river channel, right? So you could catch spotted bass down there out deep, and those school up, and you could catch those in a completely different tactic, like on the bottom, basically, compared to going up shallow midsummer and catching those fish on top water in the slot. Like, it really depends on your day's pre-fishing and the body of water, like where you found fish, what time of year it is, the stages that they're going to be in, because fish move early in the spring. They move up shallow. Talk bass here, bass fishing. They'll move up shallow to spawn, and they'll stay there, lay their eggs, make beds, which is some of the most fun fishing ever, where you can pull up on a fish and they don't leave that bed. Like, they'll just stay there, and you can pitch back in there and just piss them off enough until they bite, and it's a blast. But they go up shallow, and then summer happens. Some stay shallow. Some move out deep, school up on deep structure, like weed lines, rock piles, things like that out deep, which is a whole different tactic. Then you have to switch to fishing offshore with drop shots and things like that, and Ned rigs, and just a different, more finesse style. And then you could go up and pitch docks and grind it out and power fish, with a big jig or a chatterbait, and bang it off the stock piling or the dock pilings and get a reaction strike that way, and it's.
Did you coin the term drop shot?
No.
That's
a way before me.
Okay.
Yeah, way before
Either
me.
way, it's sick.
Right?
Especially just because it makes you think of like Call of Duty, like
it's
getting drop shotted, right? Like,
raindrop.
Drop shot.
But no, like and that's the other thing. Fishing names, like I remember I talk with my fiance a lot about it, and it's just natural to me, so I just call things by their names. Like I'm like, oh, it's Ned rig, or that's a little treble hook, like a Z-Man flutter, like, and I just say things. And she's like, what'd you just call that? I'm like, I'm sorry, this is a flutter spoon about a flutter spoon. Really? What color? Or the colors is where she goes. Her favorite color is Wonder Bread. That's like white with basically multicolored dots and stuff all over it. You got musky baits and panfish baits for ice fishing like that. She's like, I need Wonder Bread. That's what she throws, is Wonder Bread. Dead ass. That's what she throws. She'll throw a Wonder Bread color anything. You get Wonder Bread in anything. That's on her. That's on her line. Yeah, it's funny as hell.
That's funny.
It's funny. I'm a purple guy though, so if you got anything purple,
that's another thing. For me, dog.
It's gotta be the
purple's a great color.
It is. My front door at my mom and dad's house is purple.
It makes me feel like secure,
but cozy,
passionate,
bro.
comfortable. Yeah,
It's just a nice.
Purple's good.
It's just a nice, and like, even a bad purple is still a decent color. You know what I mean? But you could get like a bad green or a bad,
do it, bro.
Like orange.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not about that.
It's like painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like a bad purple, it's like.
That doesn't exist. Yeah.
I mean, it's not my favorite.
Yeah. but I can deal with it. Right.
But it's not like I got to cover that right
You're
now.
right.
You know? Yeah. No, purple's lit. Purple's lit.
So, where can people find you?
People can find me. I kind of told them when you were in the pisser.
Oh, okay.
But
tell them again.
Yeah, we'll reiterate.
Tell them again.
So, I mean, you can find the Dreaded Outdoors. You can find me on, let's see here, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the Tweeter. Not too active on the Tweeter, but the Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That's my main stuff. Is those platforms and hopefully soon, you know, maybe a little bigger than that. Oh, FSN North, watch me commercials Saturdays.
Yeah.
Due North Outdoors. I'm holding the fish, I think. So
Bet.
yeah,
you'll have to
it's
show
dope.
me.
I will.
Or send it to
I
me
will.
or something if you come
I'll
across
show
it.
you. I'll show you.
I'm
For
sure
sure
you have it.
Yeah.
Well, yo, thanks everybody for tuning into this conversation. This was
man,
fun.
It was awesome.
I enjoyed this
awesome.
a lot.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I
you
had a
taking the
blast.
time.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me. And like, not only was it like fun conversation, but it felt important too.
You know,
like,
that's true. I felt like we talked about some
real shit.
stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't just fluff.
So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me, man.
Wish you well.
It was a blast. You as well.
I'm glad to see you, dog.
Yeah, I know. We're going to have to do this again.
It's been
like
a
I
while.
Said, that ice house might have to happen sooner than later.
You're right.
You know,
I'm with it.
Yeah,
I'm with it. Absolutely.
Let's get it going.
Hey, people, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the We Are One podcast. Shout out Trey Fails coming out here hanging out. Remember when I got your number the first time and I put your name in my phone as Travis?
I do, bro. Oh my God, I do remember that. That's crazy that you.
Like what? I used to think his name was Travis.
How did that even happen? How did you get Travis?
I don't know.
Like, who told you?
I don't know.
This is Travis.
I think it was my perception of you at the time.
You saw boots, jeans, like
like you like I couldn't
Travis.
imagine you as a Trey. So when you said
you.
your name, I heard TR and I was like Travis.
Yeah, it's gotta be Travis. Trey Fails. Travis. What did you say?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe you said Trey Fails and I heard Travis somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, thanks everybody for tuning in. I think I said that already. Again, thank you, Trey, for taking the time to join us for discussion. If you're on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, share with your friends and family, share with somebody you think would get something out of this conversation. Feel free to hit me up with feedback at any point in time. If you have a suggestion, if you have something you want to see different, or I can't guarantee that I'm gonna do it, but I'm open to suggestions. Or if you have someone that you think that I personally would mesh well with for conversation, send them my way, because I'm fucking. This is like episode 41 or 42 or something like that. I know a lot of people, but it's gonna come to a point where I start to run out of people. So I need recommendations as to who I could be talking to. All right. Also, check out the Dialogue to Destiny podcast. It's a podcast that I'm helping produce. I've been on it once before. You might hear me talk every now and then, but I just help produce it. Dak and Steve, who both born and raised North Minneapolis, just discussing issues and a wide variety of topics, from reparations to Dak's son Wesley, who's my friend, who's been on this podcast a few times, who is choosing to be celibate, and as to like what plays into that decision, which is interesting. And a bunch of just really cool topics that I think there's a lot of value in. And to me, podcasts are dope because you're just exposing yourself to other people's ideas, other people's perceptions, other people's understandings of the world. And right now is specifically a time that we need to expose ourselves to ideas outside of our own, because we're fractured as a society. We are divided, quite obviously. And to me, the most like unfortunate part of the divide right now is the fact that it is largely manufactured.
That's true. It's constructed.
Republicans, like the common people, the working class who identify as either D or R, have a common enemy, which is the corporate media conglomerates, the corporate oligarchs, the elitists who quite literally reign over this country with their tools of social engineering, their oppression. Like, we as middle class, as working class, we have a common enemy. And as opposed to us coming together and fighting this common enemy, they use their tools of social engineering to pit us against one another. And that's where my issue lies. That's what I want to help resolve or mend that divide, that gap that I see as unnatural, not even real. It's real as in we're experiencing it. We're witnessing insane events day to day.
Right.
But it's not real in that I don't think it's possible. But I don't think that we would have gotten to this point in history without there being ulterior motives from these, you know, oligarchs and media conglomerates who are in bed with these oligarchs. So that was my rant to end the show. Thanks for tuning in. Like, I said a lot right there. Shit. All right. Well, peace the fuck out. Trey Fails, Dreaded Outdoors. Check them out. We're going to be talking quite a bit more in the future.
Oh, yeah.
I really am excited for this conversation. I'm like hyped about it.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I'm excited for it to continue as well.
Yeah, likewise.
Saying then.
That's what's cool about like I don't know. I'm just stoked for this podcast in general. Like 41,
you got a good thing going
42
here. Like,
episodes in.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Most of the conversations have been like introductions to people, to like my peers and stuff. And like a bunch of people that are doing dope ass shit. I can't wait till episode 240 when we're like doubling back and it's like 2 years down the road and all these people I've introduced like the audience to are further on their endeavors and we can talk more specifically about what they're doing, the impact they're having, and so on. Like, I'm so stoked for now the future. Yeah.
And you have a time frame, like in a timeline to look back on. It's
right.
documented. So you can be like, remember 3 years ago on this day you said XYZ. Now look at you, you little piece of shit.
Or like, well, like for you, like we're talking about you envisioning yourself as like a pro fisherman or taking part in a Bassmaster Classic. Like there's going to come a day where you find yourself in the position that you're envisioning right now, and then tuning into this conversation will be like surreal.
Right.
Like what?
Right.
You know?
Like, thank you for doing this. Like, you know what I mean? It'd just be that much more awesome.
Right.
Then.
Absolutely.
We can't even say goodbye.
I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to.
Oh, it's been real.
Let's say goodbye. All right. Thanks, Doc.
Yeah, of course.
Let's get a thumbnail real quick. Just look at that. Gang shit, dog. Wait, let's do one of these. Light Skin Revolution, baby. All right. Peace out. Peace and love. Keep doing you. Uplift the people around you. Love them kids. Fuck them kids, but love them kids. Peace out.